Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to the Caring View, the online health and social care platform free to access to absolutely everybody. Before we get started, it's been 2 weeks. You've probably forgotten this now. So hit that like, hit that subscribe, give us a follow on all of your regular social media platforms. We're live across LinkedIn, Facebook, X, Twitch, Insta, probably, I don't know, but we're live pretty much everywhere. You can catch us on Catch Up at YouTube /The Caring View or www.thecaringview.co.uk. Powered by Jack AI. Everything you need to know about us is there on our website. We are completely free. We never cost. We never charge. And anybody can access us at any time. The reasons we are free are because of our fabulous sponsors. So without further ado, again, it's been 2 weeks. You may have forgotten who they are. Roll call. So we have Prosperworld, the UK's leading digital marketing agency at www.prosperworld.co.uk for all of your marketing needs. We have CBAT Training Care Business Associate Training, www.cbassociatetraining.co.uk. Absolutely fab training resources, clinical, non-clinical, trainer, chaps, you name it, they have it. High performance leadership, management, time management, all of that stuff. Go check them out. Really competitively priced as well. I use them in our services. Very, very great. We have Attis Care by Attis Insurance Brokers for all your comprehensive care coverage and proactive risk management. And make sure if you give them a phone to ask for James. James is the helpful voice at the other end of the line. We've got Log My Care, the intuitive care management platform loved by complex care providers around the country, and they do have a freemium version, so a try before you buy. We're still going. We have Health Automated and Enlearnment Online, brainchild of Jack White. They also power our website, Jack AI. Very AI-heavy softwares, these two. Really intuitive, really innovative, so please do go check them out. We have Florence connecting healthcare professionals and organizations with shifts and training around the country. I say this every week, but a great alternative to agency. And last but not least, we have Every Step Care Consultancy, transforming care services with tailored consultancy, turnaround management, coaching, and compliance support. www.everystepcare.com. Nicola Holmes, friend of the Caring View, regular guest on the Caring View. This is her company, so please do go check her out. Bonjour, Mark. How are you?
Yes, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fabulous. How was Paddy?
Yeah, it was really good, thank you very much. Very hot, but yeah, no, it was nice to get away for a week. Definitely should have made it 10 days or 2 weeks, but yeah, no, it's good to be back. I'm trying to get back into work mode, and not gonna lie, it's hard.
Did you eat loads of croissants?
I ate a hell of a lot of French bread and butter, but yeah, I did eat a few croissants as well. But yeah, I
What
probably
about escargot?
bread. No snails.
Ah, what? They're nice.
No, couldn't do it. No.
With snails, I do like them, but I always wonder whether it's the garlic butter sauce that I like on them or the actual snails.
Yeah,
but they're okay. It's like mussels.
I prefer the white wine sauce, I think, to the mussel.
Yeah. Good evening, Matt. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Good evening. I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thank you very much. So before we do quick introductions, tonight we are talking choking awareness and interventions. Choking can happen in seconds, and knowing what to do can make all the difference. We're going to dive into the key signs, risks, and response techniques everybody should know. So Matt, please tell us who you are and where you're from.
I'm Matt. I'm one of the directors from LifeHack Europe. I'm from Devon, just outside South Molton, where we manufacture LifeHack.
Wonderful, brilliant. Welcome to the show, and we're really looking forward to this. Tonight's show is going to be around 30 to 45 minutes, bit of a bite-sized punchy one tonight. And Mark, I'm going to pass over to you.
Yes, thank you very much. And Matt, thank you very much for giving up your Tuesday evening to join us. So, yeah, no, really looking forward to this conversation. And I've used LifeHack in my previous company. We had one there in the care home, which helps in terms of me and knowing what they are. And we'll talk later about kind of your product and kind of what you've seen and some of the evidence that's coming out in the stats there. I know that before the show I was emailing, and some of the team today were saying to me that they'd seen this advertised. And one of the questions that came up from them, which I'm going to start on, is around choking, the difference between kind of a mild choke, and a severe choke. So I think some of them had been on a course before, couldn't quite grasp the difference. So I thought actually I'd ask it tonight, and then they'll all be informed tomorrow, hopefully.
Okay, so yeah, a mild choke is basically a partial airway obstruction. You follow your first aid. You're supposed to encourage them to cough. A severe choke is basically a complete airway obstruction where the casualty has a complete airway obstruction. They can't make a sound, they can't talk, and they will be signaling that they're choking.
Thank you very much. And with regards to the Heimlich maneuver or slapping somebody on the back, what is the protocol nowadays? Do we do it? Don't we do it? Because I do see on social media quite a lot of people talking about how you shouldn't do that anymore.
Yes, you should always do your abdominal thrusts and back blows. Always do your first aid, and we advise everyone to take an accredited first aid course. I'm first aid trained, and a lot of people that we train are first aid trained.
Thank you very much, Adam. Anything there at all?
I was going to say I've had to do the Heimlich. Well, I was going to say I've had to do the Heimlich maneuver myself a couple of times, and I can't imagine not being allowed to do that maneuver because it is so effective, like so effective when done correctly and done effectively. I'm going to ask a question I know the answer to, but I think it's important that we get this out there. Someone's got a full blockage in their throat. I'm okay sticking my fingers down there, aren't I, to try and fish it out?
No.
Honestly, the amount of times you see in the media and people are, like in TV shows and stuff, and like they're choking, it's like, oh, I can almost see it and I'm going to get it out. It's a big no-no, isn't it? It is, yeah. Follow your first aid, abdominal thrust, back slaps. My sister has got 3 wonderful, gorgeous children. And every time they come around to ours and stay at ours, we are limited with a list of foods that we can and can't give them. So grapes are a no-no unless they're cut into down and down again. Hot dogs are still a no-no, and Jacob's like 10 years old now, which is just crazy. Mini eggs are a no-no unless they're warmed up in the microwave first. And that's really for the children. But what are some of those high-risk choking foods that we should be aware of? Especially, and I'm just thinking, for people with dysphagia, people that are elderly, and people who are living in our care settings, not necessarily just children.
It's things like marshmallows. Marshmallows are really bad. Obviously, when they get stuck, they become the same temperature as your body, basically, and become gooey. So even with suction or doing abdominal thrusts, they kind of move and then slump back down to where they were originally. Meat, especially chewy meat. That's a big no-no for people that are obviously in care and nursing home settings. Anything that's chewy, toffees, that's another good one as well. Should always follow, obviously, the salt meal plans that are guided out, especially people with dysphagia.
Yeah, 100%. Where does jelly sit in this? Because jelly's an odd one, isn't it? Because is it a solid? Is it a fluid?
It's kind of in the middle, isn't it?
I've gone...
Yeah, it's kind of in the middle, especially if you've got jelly and you've got Jello, which are 2 different kind of things. Jello's more kind of rubbery consistency, and I wouldn't eat, or I wouldn't let my children eat. But yeah, that's just as bad.
I'm surprised I don't see more choking in terms of social media viral videos where they use those, and there's those the pots of jelly and whatever that other yogurty creme brulee thing is, where they like try and
creme caramels.
Yeah, creme caramels.
Yeah, but
a flan texture is a bit like that, isn't it? Because you just need to inhale incorrectly, and it's there in you, isn't it? Just before we move forward, and I'm just thinking of the choking, and we're talking about foods and everything along those lines. What are some things we need to be aware of around foods and aspiration around choking, Matt? And what are the sort of ramifications of if we do aspirate on food?
Well, aspiration's it's a common side effect with choking. Obviously, aspiration is when food particles, whether it be liquid, thickened liquid, food goes into the entrance to the lungs. You can get aspiration pneumonia. So it's basically where someone inhales and the food goes down the airway into the lungs. And it is a very common side effect. There's not much that can be prevented to stop that from happening. It's kind of like a natural reaction. I near enough had it the other day when I was outside having a coffee and I was laughing, and then I had a mouthful of coffee in my mouth, and when I breathed in, I was coughing for about 5 minutes.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I just wanted to
honestly, the amount of times we see people. No, I'm admitting it. I'm hotspotting from my mobile phone, so I'm on like a 3-second delay to everyone else. So if I overtalk, just tell me to shut up or put me on mute, Mark. I apologize.
I was just going to talk about strategies in a bit more detail, but before I do, just wanted to bring in this question for you, Matt. So this is from Kathleen. Is there any evidence about Coca-Cola being given to a person who is choking to try and drink?
No, not that we've been researching choking for the past 12 years, and there is no evidence. That's more of a myth. If someone's choking, especially with a complete airway obstruction, no matter the amount of water or liquid or Coke or anything you try to drink, it's not going to go anywhere.
Not a Coke and a Mento at the same time.
No.
So you spoke earlier regarding strategies, and I wrote down kind of SALT. What are some of the other strategies to use? And then I thought we could just talk about kind of speech and language in a bit more detail. Kind of like, are there any signs that might indicate that somebody needs something a bit more in place than just visually being observed?
Yeah, it depends. Obviously, from what we understand, working with so many care and nursing homes, if someone has more than one choking episode, then they should be referred to a SALT team for a diagnosis, because obviously they could have the very early settings of dysphagia and things like that. So that's obviously one of them. It's very important to do as well, because obviously SALT teams, they can diagnose dysphagia, diagnose anything else, the treatment, the things that person should eat and shouldn't eat. Obviously monitoring while they eat as well. That's very important, and clear communication between team members as well. You could have someone choke in the evening, and then obviously someone else comes in the morning. They might not know, so communication is really key, especially in between that choking incident and before that person gets referred to a SALT diagnosis.
Adam, any thought there around strategies? Are there any strategies that you've got? You're on mute.
We've had 2 weeks off. I didn't hear what you said then, Mark. I apologize.
We're just talking about strategies. Sorry, so any strategies that you've got in your nursing homes that work well?
Well, for preventative measures, you need to move yourself so your mic hears you, Mark. I don't know what's going on there, or maybe it's my signal. I don't know. For us, it's just around correct assessments. Monitoring effectively, care planning effectively, doing those assessments on a regular basis. Like you say, referring to SALT if we need to refer to SALT. Observing for any near misses. Those near misses are really warning signs for us. So anyone who may have had a near miss, it's an instant, right, choking risk assessment. How can we manage this? Are there further issues that we need to be aware of? Having a look at the foods that we're providing, making sure we're not giving too much claggy foods, that sort of stuff that just goes all like glue in your mouth and you struggle to get down yourself. Milk's one of those for me. It builds up in the back of my throat. And I can tell you now, I am not going out on a glass of milk, which is why I don't drink it, because I'm just not going to choke on a glass of milk. And making sure that all of the team are aware and have had that correct training. So it's about making sure that we are all aware of how to respond in emergency should we need to, and the correct techniques should we need them, and just monitoring it. It's one of those things where, unfortunately, it can happen to anyone at any time. You don't have to have dysphagia or other health conditions to choke. Anybody can choke, and many healthy people do choke and die, be it on fish bones, be it on chicken bones, or chewing too fast and not chewing enough. So it's one of those where trying to do as much as we can to prevent, in a way, knowing that actually it's always a risk. People who potentially don't have long attention spans. Maybe they have a cognitive impairment and their short-term memory is so great that sometimes they forget they're eating. And people who've got breathing difficulties and are eating, it's just around making sure that we're keeping an observation on them as much as possible, because they are potentially a risk. And we want to make sure that they're protected. So yeah, it's just about being as prepared and as proactive as you possibly can be, in my opinion.
No, thank you. Matt, anything to add there at all before we move on to kind of speech and language and just...
One thing we came across, which was really impressive, to be honest. One care provider that we work with, they do choking drills, so it helps people deal with the panic of when it does happen. So they have choking drills. Obviously, the alarm's raised, so they understand how to deal with that incident when it arises.
No, I love that. It's almost like a practical audit, but for something that you actually need. It's a bit like a fire drill, isn't it? Something that you can't ever really plan for, but it's good to make sure that you've got as much in place as possible.
And you can use them vests where it like simulates like food lodges and stuff like that, can't you? Where it pops out and everything like that. We've got them in our service using for BLS training and everything like that. So yeah, I think that's a really great idea. I've just jotted it down for our BCPs.
Yeah, I love those vests with a little bit in the middle, like a yellow bit, that foamy thing that pops out. Yeah, no, they are really good. Nicola also thinks this is a really good idea. So thank you for sharing that one. In terms of speech and language, Matt, what role do they play? How can they help a care provider and the person that's being supported in the team?
Well, obviously, they help by providing guidance. And obviously, they can diagnose if that person has an actual issue with swallowing, whether, they're developing dysphagia from, a neurological disorder such as multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, and things like that. And they play a vital role in kind of explaining what they can have and helping set out the meal plans for their care providers and things like that. Because obviously, if someone has a choking incident and then they discover they have dysphagia, if they deviate from their meal plan and it turns out they have another choking incident and that person was eating jelly, for example, when they're supposed to be on soft pureed food, the consequences quite intensive.
Adam, anything there from speech and language experience that you've got at all? I think for me, when we had speech and language, just before you come in, I think it was around that risk management and the awareness piece that came from lived experience that they had witnessed and supported with that could really help with our staff team. And I think that's where I learned around kind of like marshmallows being one of the most riskiest foods. And this was a learning disability service, so we used to have a hell of a lot of people that eat a lot of marshmallows, and kind of how that transformed us as a service to being a lot more risk aware, as opposed to just allowing people to eat kind of what they wanted.
I think for me, around the salt side of things, it's just making sure you keep to plan. They are the experts. They provided you those salt assessments and those salt plans. It's identifying that you can't reduce somebody's thickness without a salt assessment, but you can increase it if you need to without a salt assessment. So I'm making sure that everyone is aware of people's IDSI requirements. People understand what IDSI is. Are you providing IDSI training? Are you doing IDSI competencies? Our team, they do the thickness, they do the fluids, and it's absolutely fine. Okay, have they had IDSI training? How are you assessing that they do know how to make the fluids to the correct thickness? How do you know that they do know how to prepare the foods to the correct texture? Does the care plan reflect it? The number of times it's been picked up in CQC inspections across health and social care that a care plan will say one thing, but the kitchen has a different piece of information around IDSI requirements, and the carers have a completely different idea of what it is, and actually no one can find the thickener anyway. So it's around making sure everything triangulates, and once one's updated, everything else is updated, and just making sure that you are working as planned. But also be adventurous. And I know this isn't really around the quality of foods, but I have this thing around it. So we've done a couple of shows on this in the past. Don't just give them slop in a bowl. Come on. Let's make things fun and tasty and enjoyable, but let's just keep it to that IDSI framework. Otherwise, we'll be calling on Matt and his life hack people to come and save us. So yeah, just sticking to plan with your IDSI and making sure it's reviewed regularly. And you're getting feedback from the team, you're getting feedback from your seniors, your nurses, whoever's overseeing that care, and you're documenting it at all times. Regulation wise, please do make sure you are documenting when you are using thickeners. Super important. Don't just put thickened fluids given. Okay, but where's it recorded that the thickener's been used? How much thickener have you used? How do you know that it's to plan? So just making sure that you've got records of that so you can monitor the safe and effective management of thickeners. Off topic a little bit.
Thank you very much. Tina is in the comments and she has said, not sure I've already mentioned, I'm sorry, late joining tonight, but I also think there are issues is when people forget that we have liquid medication, for example. These might need to be textured are second, and the same with COVID medication and substances as the medication is putting to as well. Yeah, and I think that works both ways, doesn't it? In terms of if you've got somebody that's struggling to swallow, actually liquid medication is available for most medications nowadays. And I think my experience is that sometimes it's a bit of a battle just because of the cost of the medication, especially if it's a PRN as opposed to every day. But yeah, I think medication is probably something that gets missed quite easily because it's not thought of as food and that choking risk.
Now, I know Tina, we know Tina, and I think Tina might be tapping on her phone right now. So there's a couple of autocorrects here. So Tina, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Where you've said COVID medication, I believe you mean covert medication.
Covert.
And medication going into substances. Yes, covert, not COVID. Hugely important. And we could do a whole show just on covert medications because there's a lot to consider, especially if your covert medication instruction authorization from your GP says this must be mixed with water, for example. Don't then go and mix it with a cup of tea or a yogurt or anything else. It's really important you follow those COVID. You've got me doing it now, Tina. Covert medication authorization plans to the T. Nicola Holmes, or a person's IDSI levels pureed, but they are expected to take tablets. Trying to get support with this is sometimes extremely hard. Yes, that is so true. And you just get told that liquid meds are more expensive. That's why they're on what they're on. But who are we to question prescribers? Really great points coming through there.
So Matt, wondering if you could talk to us about LifeHack just in a bit more detail. So obviously, like I said at the beginning, I've used it, so I know what it is. But for anybody that doesn't necessarily know what it is, what it does, how it can help, kind of, are you able to just to introduce us to it, how it works, kind of some of the scenarios that you've seen where it's kind of saved lives, helped kind of preventing that choking happening?
Yeah, sure, of course. This is where I can talk for like hours. So I'll try to reduce it down as much as I can. It's one of those things where, you know, I've been there since it was invented and I live and breathe LifeHack and I dream about LifeHack. So yeah, very passionate about what we do. So yeah, this is LifeHack. We manufacture LifeHack in Devon, where we're based, for the UK, Europe, Middle East and Africa. We are regulated as a single-use, non-invasive airway clearance device to be used when first aid fails or cannot be performed. It's got 2 patented discs and a patented one-way safety valve. So when you depress, all the air goes through the vent and the valve, not through the mask, so it can't push the thing further down. You pull, generates one-way suction and dislodge obstruction of the upper airway. To date, we've saved 4,343 lives from choking to death, all the way from 8 weeks old, which was breast milk and mucus, up to our eldest life saved, which is actually in Bauhauser Care Group in Scotland, and that was a 104-year-old female. So we've covered all age ranges. So that's kind of like LifeHack in a nutshell. It can be applied when someone is sitting, standing, laying down. We replace it free of charge if it's ever used in a choking incident. Before June 2023, MHRA, who regulate the use of LifeHack in the UK, they would only help us save lives, or allow us to help us save lives in care and nursing homes and hospitals in the UK until they felt we'd proven the efficacy of LifeVac. And that was imposed on us in 2016 after we first saved our first life in Ashbury Healthcare in Wales. And we didn't expect it to last so long. But after 15 peer-reviewed medical publications in June 2023, we received the official letter from MHRA saying, we're happy with the efficacy of LifeVac. You can now help save lives in the general public. You can be used on children, etc., etc. So now we work with not just thousands of care and nursing homes, but schools, nurseries, businesses, mums and dads, and the NHS. So yeah, that's LifeVac in a nutshell.
No, thank you very much. And am I right in, pretty sure I remember this correctly, that it comes with a different sizes in terms of the over-the-mouth nose piece when you purchase it?
That's correct. So we manufacture different kits for different people's needs. But every kit comes with different size masks. I've got some more over there. But this is a large adult mask. A wall-mounted kit, which is the most common one you'll see around care and nursing homes. That's got a large adult mask, medium adult mask, test mask, small adult/child, and a pediatric mask. So it's one device and multiple masks to fit all different ages. Because obviously, you know, the LifeVac you have in a care setting is not just for the people they care for. So obviously for the guests that come in and see their loved ones, it's for obviously colleagues as well, because it can be self-applied. So it's there to protect everyone.
No, thank you very much. And just in terms of, and thinking back to those kind of practical, oh, don't know what happened there. Sorry, I was just saying, in terms of those practical test environments that you were thinking about, I know from previously that the suction on that LifeVac is incredibly strong.
Yeah.
How are some of the ways that you could practice that with your team? Obviously, making sure that you'd need to obviously have a spare cover so that you're not using that one for the people that you're supporting. But what are some of the practical ways that you could practice to make sure your staff are upskilled?
You know, we train on choking Charlies. Let me take this. Train on choking Charlies, such as this mannequin right here. But it's not cheap. It's about £600. And obviously budgets are tight. So we've worked with lots of care providers. They have kind of cheaper mannequins such as Resus Annies and stuff like that. It's more of the motion that's what's important. We like to say is place, push, pull. So as long as someone holds that mask in place through the whole motion, that's the place part, then you push and then you pull out hard and quick. Another way you can kind of get familiar with the amount of suction or what it feels like with the suction is to find a flat surface such as a countertop or a table. And then obviously once you do that, you depress, but you won't be able to pull the handle up because obviously the LifeVac is sucking into the table. So that's how you can get familiar with what it feels like with something in an airway, because obviously something blocking the airway is going to cause resistance. So that's another way you can get familiar with the LifeVac as well.
No, thank you. And no, I was fortunate enough never to have to use it. In terms of once it's on somebody that's choking's face, how many times do you have to push it down before that dislodges? Is it once or is it a couple of times? Or?
So on average, it's about 4 applications. There's different, because obviously choking is not as straightforward as what most people think. You've got upper airway obstruction, you've got lower airway obstruction, depending on how long it's taken to find that casualty. And, you know, you might have someone that didn't know that casualty had some sweets in their pocket or something like that. So they can go into cardiac arrest. They become unconscious, as we spoke about earlier on. Food or liquid can go into the lungs, cause aspiration. So there's many complications. So what we advise to do, if someone is unconscious and you're a single rescuer, we advise to use LifeVac up to 5 times. Now, if you've got 2 people attending the emergency, one person performing CPR, the other person can continue using LifeVac because you're not interrupting CPR. Obviously, in first aid, what they recommend to do on an adult with a complete airway obstruction, you do a rescue breath when you're doing CPR. You do one rescue breath. If you can't see the chest rise, you only concentrate on your chest compressions. So we've had hundreds of cases where one person's doing the chest compressions, the second person is using the LifeVac simultaneously. Now, if someone's conscious, you can use LifeVac as many times as you want. It's not going to cause any harm.
No, thank you very much. Adam, good to have you back. Any thoughts on this? I appreciate you missed the actual device, but any thoughts on practicalities? Oh, you're on mute. No, you're not on mute, but we can't hear you. While you figure out your sound. The only thing I would say that I think is really good in terms of, obviously the product that you've got there, Matt, is around actually if you need to use it, and touch wood, people don't need to, but actually that you replace that free of charge once you've purchased that product. And I can't remember it being, I can't remember how much it was, but it wasn't huge sums of money. Obviously, I know the dole there that you had to practice on was, but in terms of the actual, how much is that actual device?
So the different kits we manufacture, our home kit is $59.95 plus VAT. Our travel kit $62.95 plus VAT, and our wall-mounted kit is $84.95 plus VAT. So it's essentially a one-time cost. The LifeVac device never expires. The only part of our kits that expire are the masks, because it's the only part that we outsource, and they have anywhere between 18-month and 2-year shelf life on. But these are only £3.10 each to replace, so they're not expensive.
Thank you very much. Adam, we can't hear you still. We do have a question in the comments from Tina for you, Matt. When would you not use this device?
When would you not use them? You would use it if someone's got a tracheometry. So that's the main question that we get asked. Obviously, for people who don't know, if someone has a hole in their neck, then that's the only instance we don't recommend to use the LifeVac, because there's been no research around that part. Obviously, when we've had a questions plenty of times before, obviously the bit of round plastic that comes out, it seems to be the perfect diameter for the base of the LifeVac. So we've had numerous questions. Can that be attached to that? And we've never done any research. That area is very sensitive. Even when it's cleaned, it weeps. So that's the only instance we say don't use it.
Thank you very much. And I can reassure you not to use it if you're not choking, because from memory, I feel like it nearly sucked half my life out of me. Okay, so anything else before we move on prevention strategies? Before actually I ask that question, the only thing I would say is it never came up in a CQC inspection when I had it, but when we had our PAMS audit from a local authority, they thought really highly of the LifeVac that we had, in terms of that it was in care plans, it was in risk assessments as a control measure, in terms in general, made it to kind of the PAMS, and I'm pretty sure it got us from the good rating to the outstanding element, just in terms of forward planning and prevention. But anything else that you can think of, Adam, if your microphone's working, that you can think of around kind of prevention? Nothing from Adam. Can't hear him. Okay, last part of tonight. I just want to talk about kind of following up after choking, around kind of what that looks like for care providers and kind of best practice or recommendations. So you've had the choking incident, you dislodged it, you kind of made sure that person emotionally was okay. Obviously, we would document that in the care plan. Is there anything else that you would recommend in terms of learning from lessons? I know that you play how many people you consider LifeVac in general and coaching environments and stuff. Anything else providers should be looking to?
Your microphone's gone very muffled there, Mark. Sorry.
Oh, is that better?
That's a little bit better.
I was just asking around follow-up once somebody's had a phase. Is there any recommendations that you put in terms of documentation, learning from it, and best practice?
Obviously, learning from it. Learning from that's the big thing. Choking doesn't obviously just affect the casualty; it affects everyone involved. One provider we work with, which we was really impressed with, they provide counselling for the people that are involved at the same time, because it is a very traumatic experience. So that's another thing to follow up with, is obviously your staff members, your colleagues, to see how they're doing and their well-being. Another thing to follow up with is obviously that casualty needs a medical examination afterwards, because obviously they've been choking. Even if LifeHack wasn't used because it wasn't needed in that incident, first aid, it's it's gone back. That's okay. Obviously, first aid has been performed even if LifeHack wasn't needed. But there's many risks associated with first aid choking protocol. Abdominal thrusts, one of them. Ruptured spleen, internal bleeding, fractured ribs. So they need a medical examination afterwards to make sure that everything is okay. And there's no internal damage done. Obviously, first aid's a must, but it carries its risks at the same time. Its effectiveness, first aid choking protocol, it's abdominal thrusts and back blows in combination. They're 70 to 74% effective in a perfect situation. If you've got a casualty that can't receive abdominal thrusts due to being bedridden, limited mobility, a wheelchair user, and they're left with back blows. There's two publications behind back blows. One states they're 10% effective. The other one states they're 23.8% effective. So in combination, as I said, 70 to 74% effective. Just make sure your colleagues and your staff are okay, the casualty's okay. Highlight the fact that person has choked to the next person that comes in. It's detailed on their plan. The incident is recorded. And it's not forgotten about.
No, thank you. And I think it's really good that you raised around that support for the staff member, because I think actually it's a bit like any emergency situation. Obviously, the adrenaline shoots through the roof. It's a very kind of tense, anxious moment where everything's kind of happening at once. You're doing your best to kind of support the person that you're looking after with your team, and everything kind of becomes very heightened. And I think quite often we then focus on the person, rightly so, but we often forget the staff member that's kind of been through that journey as well. So I think actually a really good point there around actually that emotional support and making sure that somebody is okay, kind of debriefing with them. Adam, are you there?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes! Remind me never to do the podcast premiering ever again. This has been a nightmare tonight. No, I wanted to come in because one of my managers was messaging me whilst we were watching, whilst we were all talking, and I was in the limbo somewhere. And she was saying that actually she's used this life hack before and saved her life. Which is, I think, amazing, like absolutely incredible. We're also conflabbing saying, oh my God, these choking drills sound like a really good idea. So let's start on that. Let's start giving that some thought. I've missed the entire conversation of that last part. I do apologize. Was there a question for me?
We were just, you'll have to watch on catch up, but but we were just talking around kind of following up after a choking incident. So somebody's emotionally being supported around that kind of lessons learned, the documentation, kind of what providers could do. Any recommendations there, Adam, in terms of kind of implementing anything?
It is just around sharing those lessons learned. Looking at themes and trends of choking incidents as well, because if you're having a number of choking incidents, I think it's time to look at themes and trends and what's causing them. Sharing those lessons learned with your team, potential impacts, potential ramifications, notifications. You know me and my regulatory head. Make sure you are submitting them notifications, and you're making people aware of these. Again, risk assessing, checking care plans. Just a reminder to everyone: NICE care plan review guidance is at least annually, or as and when changes occur, or depending on how often someone wants to have their care plan reviewed. So it might be that no one's had a choking incident in 6 months, and you don't need to review that care plan effectively. I mean, you can put a note in to say, look, yeah, everything's fine, no change is required. It could be that someone chokes 3 times a month. That care plan needs updating 3 times in a month. You don't just wait till the end of the month to update that care plan. So it's just about making sure that you're on it with your risk assessments, on it with your care planning, on it with notifying the team, sharing those lessons learned, looking at your themes and trends on your incidents, on it with your competency assessments, with your training, on it with the actual training. Do some practical work with your team around the foods and all of that sort of stuff. Choking drills, really great idea. I'm BSing my way through this because, again, I missed most of that conversation, and I know you've probably covered pretty much everything, but I'm just thinking regulatory from the top of my head. It is around making sure that everything is covered. Relevant regulations, obviously, you've got Regulation 12, safe care and treatment. You've got Regulation 13, safeguarding people from abuse and proper treatment. You've got Regulation 18, staffing, that will be covered through your training and all of that. You've got your nutrition and hydration, and I'm going to trip myself up here because I'm going to say that's Regulation 14, but I might be completely incorrect there. So it's just really, I'm pretty sure I've got them all right. I might have got my Regulation 13 the wrong way around there. It could be 15. But it's around just making sure that you are evidencing this for the regulations. Different elements will cover different regulations. But yeah, you've most likely covered everything. Go and buy a life pack. They sound amazing. Oh,
Teresa's come back in.
Oh, I think someone's looking for someone's looking for some brownie points tonight. Debrief is so important to support the team. Yes, we do. We have weekly meetings with our managers where we do ask for lessons learned across the group. So anything that's occurred that's out of the ordinary, have we learned anything from it? How do we share that with other managers across the group? Is there stuff that we can learn and implement in each of our homes? And we find them really, really beneficial. And it's really, really important that you don't just share lessons learned internally, you share them across your group if you are part of a group. And if you're not part of a group, share them with other providers in your local area or at provider forums, your registered manager network. We all learn from each other. So yeah, super, super important, that lesson learned piece.
No, thank you. I was just on the LifeVac website, Matt, and I came across the section around training, and you've got an e-learning. Is that available for anybody? Do you have to have a LifeVac to be able to access it?
No. That's free for everyone. We actually came up with that during COVID because we had care providers saying we need LifeVac training, but you can't come to our settings. So we reached out to different providers we worked with, and we said, we're coming up with this e-learning training. We'd love your input because originally it's tailored towards care settings. So yeah, it's free CPD certified e-learning. All you have to do is click and enroll. It covers quite a few good things, not just about LifeVac. Choking prevention, how to recognize choking, different types of choking. It's got case studies in there. Obviously, device overview, how and when to use your LifeVac. At the end, there's a competency test where you have to get a 95% passing grade, and everyone receives a downloadable certificate.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And I just had a question from somebody in my team around whether you can use the LifeVac on yourself or not. So if you're choking, you've got one in the car, are you able to do it yourself?
Yes. So I'm not afraid to use that myself. Take my glasses off though. So if you're choking by yourself, obviously you have your mouth open. If you take my glasses off, over your mouth and nose, hold the mask firmly in place, and depress and pull out hard and quick. And yeah, that's how we've saved over 200 people that have self-applied LifeVac, whether they've been either home alone or they're on their break at work. You have to think as well, first aid, if you're home alone and you start choking, what they advise you to do is find a sharp corner of the sofa or the counter and throw your abdomen on there as hard as you can to help kind of replicate some sort of pressure. Apart from that, there's nothing else you can do when you're by yourself, especially with a complete airway obstruction. You can't even call 999 to help.
No, thank you very much. I've really enjoyed tonight. I think I put it in the email to you earlier that actually when I was looking for resources around choking, there's not a great deal available on the internet. So I think it's been a really good kind of introduction to kind of what choking is, kind of some of those strategies. And I think it's been great to kind of explore LifeVac in more detail. And as you were there talking about being able to use it on your own and actually kind of those emergencies, was thinking actually I should probably order one for at home in case the kids are choking because they're getting bigger and I can't just smack them across my knee anymore. Adam, go on.
I was just going to ask again. I missed loads, so I'm sorry if this has been asked. Is there a lower age limit on who this can be used on?
No, the youngest life we saved was about 8 weeks old, and that's breast milk and mucus. So yeah, we've covered all age ranges, and the items it's dislodged. It's been a long list, especially within the NHS side of things, because it's more on the mental health side where people are trying to self-harm. So it's been things such as latex gloves, toilet tissue, underwear, pine cones. Outside that mental health, it's been things such as bottle caps, meat, sandwiches, marshmallows, pebbles, marbles, Velcro, leaves. Children are the second highest risk choking category. And this is one reason why, I was really excited about, coming to do this, because obviously people over the age of 65, they're the highest risk of choking, where children fall under that one. Children learn by obviously texture, by putting things in their mouth and exploring like that. I'm lucky my three children have kind of gone out of that phase. But my youngest, Elsie, she's 8 now. I still cut all of her grapes up. I won't let her have lollipops. Chew around the dinner table, small bites, don't talk with food in your mouth. But as you get older, you get weaker, your muscles get weaker, you can develop dysphagia, you develop dry mouth. So the risks of choking are much higher in the older age group.
Well, I'm definitely going to be purchasing one. I sent the link to my wife a second ago via WhatsApp. So, Adam, anything before we close out tonight?
No, I think this has been brilliant. And again, I'm sorry that I had to dip out at some point. My internet went, and I'm currently riding on free Premier and Wi-Fi at the moment, so I'm surprised it's actually working. But I will definitely be watching this. I'll catch up. And I've already got, like I say, members of the team getting in touch saying that we want to do more with this. And in fact, this manager, and I'm probably sharing this, and she'll probably kill me tomorrow when I say this. Her cousin's got one of these life hacks, and his dog got a ball stuck in his mouth, and he used it on his dog, and managed to get the ball out of his dog's mouth. Which I just look at this. You can go into veterinary work here as well, Matt. Let's start saving all types of lives. Dogs' lives matter, and all of it's really important. I think it's inspiring. I think it's great. I think all providers need to start looking into innovative solutions. I think this product you've got is fantastic. The evidence is there that it works. But not only that, you've got so much knowledge behind this. It's not just some bright spark who's come up with a product and gone, oh yeah, use this. It's fab and it works. Your passion, your knowledge around preventing of choking and management techniques is incredible. And I think there's a lot to be learned here. And I can't wait to get this up onto our podcast for people to listen back to. I can't wait to catch up on it because I've missed a chunk of it. I can't wait to hear what my team say around me trying to introduce choking drills, because I think that's fantastic. Some really, really good insights here.
No, thank you.
No, thank you very much for joining us. And one of the other benefits I've just looked is it's made in the UK, which is obviously great news, trying to keep it local, which is good. But you're all over I was just looking at your international bit. You're kind of all over the world, which is great.
Yeah, we've got distributors all over Europe. Yeah, we manufacture LifeHack out there. Every component is manufactured in Plymouth, in Devon. Everything's local.
Well, absolutely amazing tonight. Again, I apologize for my technology woes this evening. This has been... Oh, have we done your website yet? Have we pulled your website up on the screen so people can go and find you? Did I miss that?
I think
it's right there again, though, for everybody who wants to go check it out. I do recommend that you do. So it'd be interesting to know if anybody watching kind of on catch up has ever had CQC kind of comment on this during kind of inspections and bits and pieces. And I'll try and dig out the PAMS audit. It was quite a few years ago, but I'll try and dig out that because I'll have it somewhere in terms of what they mentioned in there.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. This has been the Caring View. Tina has come in the comments and saying CQC now recommending 6 monthly for care plans. I am going to check this because I chat with CQC the other week during one of our inspections, and they agreed around annually. This is probably going to be another one of those cases where it's people deciding different things in different areas, and obviously we want to have some clear-cut guidance on this, whether it's NICE guidance or CQC's guidance that we follow. So let's make sure we can get that, and we'll have a look at trying to get some sort of concrete response for you. www.thecaringview.co.uk for all of your free resources, access to our podcast, chat show episodes, sponsors, and our suppliers. A huge thank you to our sponsors, Prosperwell, CBAT, Attis Care by Insurance Brokers, Florence, Log My Care, Every Step Care Consultancy, and Learningment Online. I'm doing really well here, Mark.
Health Automated.
Health Automated Online. Fabulous, wonderful. Thank you to all supporting us at The Caring View. Mark, we will be going live again next week as usual at 7:30. What have we got on next week? What are we chatting?
So next week we are talking around AI. I know it's your favorite subject, Adam, but we are talking
Surprise!
We're talking around a new product that's come to market, but is kind of being very quickly implemented across social care. So interesting to kind of see what they're finding in terms of their products and bits and pieces. So I'll get that kind of set up and hopefully shared tonight.
Wonderful, fantastic. Yay, AI. No, I'm joking. We love all AI conversations. AI is going to be the future in a lot of things. For me, especially around data analysis, there's a lot of use for AI around data analysis and identifying themes, trends, all that sort of stuff. So really interesting the work that's going on out there by all the tech companies. So until then, please stay safe. Have a lovely week. If it is going to be sunny and hot where you are, make sure you sun cream. Make sure you are hydrating. Make sure your homes are hydrating. Make sure you're signed up to them hot weather alerts and you're testing your BCPs and you've got your fans in place, but you've got them on IPC schedules and you've got your air cons in place. Please do all stay safe, and we will see you next week, 7:30, across all of our regular platforms. Take care.
See you later.